Do I own Bitcoin? And should you own Bitcoin? I think this video today is meant to show my personal story and how I've thought about Bitcoin over the years, after years and years of uncertainty, and how my perception has changed to where I feel confident buying and owning Bitcoin, and why I think you should consider doing so as well. Stick around, listen to my story, and we'll dive in. Okay, so we'll give a quick overview of how I view the definition of Bitcoin. If you know anything about it, it was back in 2008, 2009, there is a white paper, and this was released by basically this anonymous person or group named Satoshi Nakamoto. And what this paper outlined was this new technology and approach for a digital currency. This digital currency was meant to facilitate these peer-to-peer transactions, create this open source public ledger of all those transactions, and not have any outside influence from central banks or other entities. Just like me, you may have thought of Bitcoin as this weird, mysterious, technology for computer people. You may have thought of it as a way that these evil drug lords and criminals are sending money, in the black market. And some of those things are totally true. There was quite a bit of that. There was quite a bit of scandal and controversy, hacking, people losing millions. And so it felt like, for someone like myself, it felt like, well, I don't think I'm ready to put my family's hard-earned money into something like that. And I think everyone has a story like this of, oh, my buddy, he had 500 coins, on his old thumb drive. Or, you've heard about a lot of those, whether they're true or not. My story personally is I had a friend, he had come into some money. He was considering buying Bitcoin at the $500 price. Me, being the great friend I am, I said, hey man, if I were you, if that was my money, I would invest in the stock market. I would invest in something like real estate. Bitcoin seems way too volatile to take a risk like that with this money. So if he didn't take my advice and he put his $50,000 in, back then at $500 price per Bitcoin, we're now at $58,000 as I'm filming this, meaning that investment would have grown to $5.8 million. So, probably the worst advice ever, I guess. But it's not as bad as the story you may have heard about of the guy that bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. And that would have been worth over $580 million right now. I mean, this is unfathomable amounts of money. The amount of growth and appreciation, it's hard to comprehend. I remember when Bitcoin shot up to $19,000, and then it was followed by just this meteoric crash. And before that, it was really starting to penetrate the culture and the media. I remember seeing a skit where they mentioned Bitcoin on SNL, and I thought, okay, wow, this is definitely coming to the mainstream. And then as it crashed down from 19,000 down to around 3,000, all the people that were skeptical, all the haters basically, they said, see, this is not something you should invest in. It's gonna go to zero. We were right, I told you so. And fair enough, it felt very risky, but things have fundamentally changed. Here as we head towards 2022, you can't go a day without seeing a headline around cryptocurrency and around Bitcoin. You think about someone like Elon Musk or Jack Dorsey from Twitter. These people, they have been at the forefront of bringing world-changing technology to the masses and reaping the benefits of that in the tunes of their net worth being in the billions of dollars. And you think about this, Jack from Twitter, he has been a pioneer in the social media phenomenon. He has brought things like Cash App and Square, these transformative payment systems. On the other side, we have Elon Musk with PayPal and SpaceX and Tesla and Solar City. And so these people obviously have a pretty good idea. Maybe they're more qualified than anyone to know when there's a new technology that's going to change the world. And so the fact that they're so bullish on this, it's really hard to not think there's something to that. But it just doesn't stop there with a few outspoken tech CEOs. We have people like Tim Cook. I would view him as a more conservative, tech leader, but he's admitted recently he owns cryptocurrency. You also have really smart people like Cathie Wood saying that the value of Bitcoin could easily shoot up to 500K per Bitcoin, in the next 5 years, which seems really crazy. But the other thing you have to understand is that Bitcoin is, by its definition, this deflationary asset. There is only a finite number of Bitcoins that will ever be created, 21 million, and that is it. And that kind of leads me to why I started to invest in Bitcoin more heavily. With the COVID-19 pandemic and just this economic devastation across the globe, it started to really, really scare me. I watched in March of 2020 as the stock market just was selling off thousands of points a day. It was really incredible. One of the most incredible economic situations of my lifetime. But what I've also seen, and what I know that you've experienced, is this rising inflation. I read just last night in an article from The Economist that 1/5 of all US dollars in circulation were created in 2020. 1/5, that's crazy. So in an economic environment like this, where federal banks are just printing trillions of dollars, this is globally, it's a phenomenon that's happening. It really undermines the people's confidence in these institutions to make sure there's sound fiscal policy taking place, that the value of our money is not being just eroded through rising inflation. And I think what's been the missing piece for me was that wasn't really a thing prior to now in my lifetime. Like, I didn't feel those impacts personally of, the national debt here in the United States. Some of that didn't feel like a ticking time bomb that I believe it is. And there's still a lot of risk. Just recently, Hillary Clinton came out and said how cryptocurrency is a threat to these fiat currencies and could destabilize nations. When you think about that language, destabilize nations, you have someone like El Salvador, where they are accepting Bitcoin as a legal tender in their country. And what that's enabled them to do is a headline like this, where they, from the appreciation and the price of Bitcoin, can now consider building 20 schools in their country. The control of the monetary policy, the control over the financial system is in threat and jeopardy of having it abstracted away to this open source, peer-to-peer, non-influenced system of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So how do I personally invest in Bitcoin? How would I recommend you thinking about it? I obviously buy Bitcoin directly, and I've been doing that just through the Coinbase app. This is just a very easy, user-friendly platform. For the average person, something like Coinbase is totally great to go dabble and buy a little bit of Bitcoin. If you want, you can use my link below. You'll get some free Bitcoin, as will I, and I'd be happy to chat with you if you have any issues getting signed up and set up. Now with Bitcoin, I'm doing something called dollar cost averaging, meaning I'm slowly scaling in and building up a position. I'm not going to go throw in tons of money, especially right now as we are close to the all-time highs as I film this video. And the other side is I also started to invest in Coinbase itself. That is a stock that I've chosen as part of my group of non-index investments. So most of my money, as you know, is in VTI, but I have a position over here in Coinbase because I believe as this technology and trend takes off, Coinbase aims to be a big beneficiary of that. They're a leader in that space. And so I own Coinbase as well. There's actually a great book, the Bitcoin Standard, pretty popular. If you want to read this book, I've linked that below as well. And it's something that will help you start to think through, is this a good investment for you? Okay, well, clearly I like this topic, so I may put out more videos on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency. If you would like me to do that, drop a comment and let me know. Let me know what I missed. And let me know if you are personally investing in Bitcoin right now. I'd love to chat about it in the comments. Please like and subscribe. We will see you back next video.